You get paid. 24 hours later, half of it is already gone and you have no idea where it went. Rent, groceries, a coffee here, a subscription there. And by the time payday rolls around again, your savings account looks exactly the same as it did last month. Empty. Here's the thing, you don't need a finance degree to fix this. You need one rule. 3 numbers, 50, 30, 20. That's it. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to split every paycheck so that your bills are covered. You still get to live a little, and you're actually building wealth without a single complicated spreadsheet. Let's get into it. The 50-30-20 rule was popularized by U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren back when she was a bankruptcy law professor in a book she co-wrote called All Your Worth. The idea was simple. Instead of tracking every single expense in 15 categories, you split your income into just 3 buckets. 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes to savings and debt payoff. That's the whole system. No apps required, no 50-line spreadsheet, just 3 buckets, and every dollar you earn goes into one of them. The reason this works so well is that it's based on your take-home pay, what actually lands in your bank account after taxes, not your salary on paper. That matters, because budgeting off your gross salary is one of the most common mistakes people make, and it sets you up to overspend from day one. Let's break down each bucket, starting with needs. Needs are the expenses you cannot avoid, the things you'd still have to pay even if you lost your job tomorrow and had to survive on the bare minimum. This includes rent or mortgage payment, groceries, the essentials, not the takeout utilities like electricity, water, gas, and internet, minimum payments on debt, insurance like health, auto, and renters, and transportation to get to work. Here's where people trip up. Needs are not things I need to feel comfortable. Your gym membership is not a need. Your streaming subscriptions are not a need. Even your daily coffee, as much as it might feel essential at 7 a.m., is not a need. A good gut check question is this. If I lost my job tomorrow, would I still have to pay for this to survive? If the answer is yes, it's a need. If the answer is well, I'd really want to, it's a want. Now let's talk about wants. Wants are everything that makes life enjoyable but isn't strictly necessary for survival. Dining out and takeout, streaming services and subscriptions, shopping for clothes beyond the basics, travel and vacations, hobbies, concerts, gym memberships, and that daily coffee we just talked about. This is the bucket people feel guilty about, but you shouldn't. The 30% wants category exists on purpose. Budgets that don't allow for any fun almost always fail, because eventually you get frustrated and blow the whole thing on a random Tuesday. Building in permission to spend on things you enjoy is what makes this system sustainable long-term. Last bucket, savings and debt payoff. This is where the real wealth building happens. 20% of every paycheck goes toward building an emergency fund, retirement contributions like a 401k, IRA, or pension, investing in a brokerage account, and extra payments on debt beyond the minimums. A quick but important note. Minimum debt payments count as a need because you have to pay them. But anything extra you throw at that debt, paying more than the minimum to knock it out faster, that comes out of this 20% savings bucket. Let's make this real. Say you take home $4,000 a month after taxes. Here's how the math breaks down. Needs at 50% is $2,000, rent, groceries, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments. Wants at 30% is $1,200, eating out, subscriptions, shopping, entertainment. And savings and debt at 20% is $800, emergency fund, retirement, investing, extra debt payoff. Notice something powerful here, that $800 a month if invested consistently isn't just $800. Over time, with compound growth, that becomes tens of thousands of dollars. This isn't about restriction. It's about making sure your future self gets paid first, automatically, every single month. There are 3 reasons this system beats most other budgeting methods people try. 1. It's simple. You don't need to categorize 40 different expenses. 3 buckets. That's it. Simplicity is the difference between a budget you actually stick to and one you abandon after 11 days. 2. It builds in guilt-free spending. Because 30% is designed for fun, you're not white-knuckling your way through the month feeling deprived. That's often why other overly strict budgets fail. They don't leave room for being human. 3. It forces saving before it becomes an afterthought. By treating that 20% like a non-negotiable bucket instead of whatever's left over, you flip the entire order of operations. Most people save what's left after spending. This rule spends what's left after saving. Now, I'd be doing you a disservice if I made this sound like a perfect system, because it isn't. Here's where the 50-30-20 rule breaks down. High cost of living areas. If you live somewhere like New York, San Francisco, or another expensive city, your rent alone might eat 40% of your income before groceries or utilities even enter the picture. For a lot of people, needs realistically land closer to 60 or even 70%. Very different income levels. If you're on a lower income, hitting even the 50% needs target might be genuinely difficult. There's not much room to cut a grocery bill or rent payment. On the flip side, if you're a high earner, capping savings at just 20% is actually leaving money on the table. You could, and probably should, be saving more. It treats all debt equally. The rule doesn't distinguish between a 4% student loan and a 24% credit card. If you're carrying high-interest debt, that math changes everything, and it often makes sense to throw a larger share at that debt before it snowballs. So think of 50-30-20 as a starting framework, not a strict law. Plenty of people adjust it. Some run 60-20-20, others do 40-20-40 if they're aggressively saving. The percentages are a guide, not a rule book carved in stone. Here's exactly how to put this into action this week. Step 1. Calculate your monthly take-home pay, not your salary, what actually hits your bank account. Step 2. List out your true needs and add them up. See what percentage of your income they're actually eating. Step 3. If needs are close to 50%, great, move on. If they're higher, that's useful information. It tells you whether you need to cut a specific cost, like downsizing your apartment or refinancing a loan, or whether you need to boost your income. Step 4. Set up automatic transfers. The moment your paycheck lands, have a set amount automatically move into savings or investments. This is the single biggest lever. Automating that 20% removes willpower from the equation entirely. Step 5. Revisit the split every few months. Life changes, raises, rent increases, a new goal like a house or a wedding, and your percentages should flex with it. So to recap, 50% to your needs, 30% to your wants, and 20% to savings and debt payoff, calculated off your take-home pay, not your salary. It's not a perfect system, and you may need to adjust the ratios to fit your city, your income, or your debt situation. But as a starting point, it's one of the simplest, most sustainable ways to take control of your money without losing your mind over a spreadsheet. If this helped, hit subscribe for more breakdowns like this one, and drop a comment telling me what percentage split actually works for your budget. See you in the next video.